Hi friends, I wanted to give you a little primer on the camera for the upcoming shoot, and I only want to cover the buttons that you'll need to know versus the whole thing, which can be a little confusing. Alright, this is the camera. The power button is right there. It's this silver button. Okay? And when you turn it on, screen wakes up. Camera wakes up. There's no viewfinder or anything like that that you need to know. Other places where you won't need to know anything or any of these buttons, don't be concerned about them. When you show up on Friday morning, unfortunately I have to hit the ground running, so we'll need you kind of on your game there a little bit. The most important thing, I guess we'll start at the top. The thing you'll need to know and be able to do most is take a card out and follow the driver from car to car. So, the card and battery are under this little door here, which slides out like that. Okay. Underneath you'll find an 8 GB SD card and the battery. Let me zoom in a little bit on that so you can kind of get a look. Right. So that's where your tape is, and that's what's going to need to follow the driver from his 2 drives. The card only goes in one way. It's pushed in and released like that. And you'll see the name of the card, which means that if you try to shove it in any other way, it won't go, and it'll probably damage the camera. It just goes in with a click. Okay? Now the important part, let me turn the camera back on. Okay, oh, that's right. Is when the drive is done being recorded. Right, I've started the record. When the drive is being done recorded, you have to give the camera a moment to finish writing a file. It only takes a few seconds, but it's not like a tape. If you press stop and yank the card out before it's done, this drive is toast, and we don't want that. So, I'm about to hit stop record, and you can already see that little access light. That means it's writing to the card, what we're shooting right now. So I'm going to push the stop button, but it'll take it a moment to finish and actually give you kind of a 2-beep confirmation, and then even a second after that. So here we go. That's how long it took. And if you somehow manage to stop the camera and get the card out in time, you're going to toast the drive. But so, you know, count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi when you pressed hitting record, or when you're done hitting record. Obviously the other most important thing is don't forget to roll. And so when the person comes into the car, let me zoom that in so it won't be confusing. When the person gets in the car and you've got their name, what I'm going to do is put out another video on actually the workflow. But you're looking for this, that little red light, or little red mark to begin, and the counter to begin turning. And you have to make sure you're rolling. Check on yourself all the time, just to make sure that you didn't forget. These cards will last 2 hours and 41 minutes. Let me zoom that in. It's giving me the status of the card. So I've got, they're actually going to last about 2 hours and 45 minutes per card, and each drive is only 25 minutes. So once you hit a drive, you know, we'll go through workload, but don't worry about space. And the one on the bottom is how much time is left on the battery. Now each camera is going to have 3 batteries total plus 1 external charger. So we'll be just rotating these batteries all day long. When this gets down to between 90 and 100 minutes, I would say change the battery, just because, you know, batteries have kind of a cascade at the end where 100 minutes actually is maybe 50 or 60. You never quite know, but why take chances? And these batteries do last quite a while. So those are the 2 things you really want to keep an eye on, is the record light right there, plus the time on card, which isn't a big deal, but the time on battery. The last thing you'll notice that I'll need you to know is there's a little symbol that I'm going to be parking right there. And what that means is, if you see the light behind the person's head, come on, come on. There we go. Come on. Stop it. Behave yourself. Anyway, let me see if I can get it this way. There we go. Okay, so there's a little light behind the person's head, and it's off. And you'll find when you change batteries or things happen, it'll shut itself off. So you want to take this little 4-way joystick and press it in, because I want that turned on. And if you'll notice, you saw the brightness increase. This is inside a car, and this camera is going to iris for what's outside, and I need that overridden a little bit so we can see the driver's face. That's a backlight button, and you'll see it come on right into the battery timer there. See the little image of the sun behind the person? If you guys could make sure, it's not crucial, but if you can make sure that that's on, okay? You can make sure it's on before the drive begins, because I'd like to be able to see the person as much as possible. All right, here's a couple of foolproof things that they did, which I thought were pretty smart. All right, I'm rolling right now, as you can see, and I'm going to accidentally open this. Oh, accessing the card, do not remove the card. So basically, when I popped that door, it was like setting the stop button right there. It basically just said, don't do that. So that's good. It's a little bit of foolproof. All right. And you notice it'll take a moment to read the card. It's got to stop and read and find out what's left on the card. So that didn't take long, though. What was that, 3 or 4 seconds? The other thing you'll need to know how to do is change the battery out. And now here, on the underside of the camera, is a little flange sticking out. And that's designed to hold the battery in. Now, one of the batteries is the battery that's made by Canon. The other two are going to be aftermarket. If I push this over, the battery's actually on a little spring. But pops right out. Right? So the battery comes out fairly simply. Problem is, this camera's going to be mounted like that on a dashboard, and I'm going to show you the dance. But you've got to be able to, that little gray thing, you've got to be able to set the battery in and kind of push that over just a little bit to get the battery up inside. Okay? So you'll have to kind of learn that trick like this. So the camera will be sitting like so. Well, actually kind of set it like that, where you'll be looking down on it sort of like this. So you've got to be able to get under there, because the camera's going to be locked down on a suction mount. And use your finger to reach up under there and pull out the card. Okay? You're going to have to learn to do that without looking. It's not that hard, and if you need to, and you can get on your knees next to the car, you'll be able to see up under here if that'll help you. But having the battery pointing down sometimes helps, because if I pull that little flange, the battery pops right out. So it'll pop out into your hands. Okay? It'll only go in one way, just like the SD card. You're looking for the name up of the battery and these 4 little things. But it'll only go one way. Okay? So that's pretty much it. I don't want you to learn anything else of the camera unless something looks unusual. But you just need to know what's going on with the screen. And obviously to listen for the beeps when it's time to roll. Let's do it one more time. Rolling, 1 beep. Stopping, takes a moment to write to the card, 2 beeps. Alright folks, I'll get you the other part of workflow in just a moment. Okay, step 1 of our job. When the driver comes up, he's going to have a moderator with him. It's kind of an escort, the person that'll be asking him the questions. This person is going to be sitting in the passenger seat, and usually you interact with that person. When they come walking up to your car space, because everybody's going to have their own designated car space, you're going to say, what's the driver's name? Okay, this driver's name is John S. and 2/11/11. That's the date for today. So you're going to write that down on the SD card holder. Okay? They're going to get in the car. Zoom that puppy in. It'll be mounted on the passenger side. Let me turn on that backlight that we need so much. I'm going to turn on the camera. Camera will fire up. Please do make sure that it's zoomed out all the way. Sometimes this button up here can get bumped, but we want the camera zoomed out all the way. Okay, so always try to remember that, because sometimes when you're fumbling with it, it might get bumped. You'll start the drive. The drive will begin after I check. Let me get my backlight on. Oh boy, did I need that. Okay, the backlight's on. And they will drive away for 25 minutes. So see, in 25 minutes, your job will be to kind of keep an eye and wait for that particular car to come back. Once they come back, you're going to hit the record button again. Once they may sit in the car and talk for a while. So you kind of have to wait for the moderator to finish his questionnaire. He'll have he'll have a notepad, a clipboard with all kinds of questions, so sometimes they'll sit there with the engine idling and you'll have to kind of just stand around and wait. But once they're done, they'll start popping open the doors. Your job is to reach in, grab the card, and take it with you to the next car wherever John goes. So let's try it. This is how it's, and I don't want the camera moved, obviously, so you're going to have to try to do this carefully. Had to wait for it to stop. Take the card. Now we're going to go to the next car, wherever that is, and pop it into that camera. And so let's pretend we're on our way back in. Here we go. I'll pre-close it just for fun, so you can get a good look. Make sure I'm in close enough. There we go. And I accidentally zoomed the camera all the way in when I did that. So that's why that screen's going to be pointing out, so you can really get a look at it. Alright, let's put that card in. Only goes one way. The SanDisk logo will be kind of facing you. There's only one slot for it. It clicks. You have to shut that door all the way, or it won't record. Make sure the camera's pointed and focused at him. You hit roll. They're going to go for a 25-minute drive. And when they come back, so you get used to that dance of kind of hitting the record button and then waiting a few minutes. Not a few minutes, but you know what I mean. Pull that card out. Here's his little sleeve that I've been carrying around. John S. 211. Let me zoom this back up. There's this little sleeve. I'll kind of squeeze that open. Drop the card in. Try to make sure it's not going to fall out into the rain, because it may be raining. Try to keep it dry and safe, because that's the gold. And you're going to take this to Clark Severson. Clark Severson's going to be in that room at the Hyatt, and he's going to be taking these cards, turning them into DVDs, wiping them, in other words, giving them back to you blank. You will have 2 of these, so you'll have a spare in your pocket for your drives while there's going on, and these are being edited, being turned into DVDs. And that's the show. Rinse and repeat for 7 long days. Alright, we're hoping it doesn't rain, but they say there's going to be a day of rain, so prepare for that. Alright, good luck. If you need to rehearse this video, if you have any questions, give me a call. One more note, battery life may be an issue with these little batteries. We're just not sure. Like this one's down to 92 minutes already, and I haven't been playing with it that much. And that's at 92 minutes, I would replace that battery. But one of the things I would recommend you do if you're good at this is when you're done, you know video's rolling. Alright, so video's rolling, you know that it's rolling. Take the monitor and flip it around and shut it, because I'm sure that's going to double your battery life. This camera has no moving parts, so just learn that little flip, you know, without moving the camera too much, and that way, you know, during the drive they're not going to need to see it, but you're going to need to see it the minute they're back. So maybe learn that little flip, especially if you're anal like me and want to make sure that the batteries don't run out during the drive, because it'll not be good. We want to get every single drive and never forget to roll tape and never forget to finalize the card and never forget anything. So each of you has got your own little parking space studio, and I'll need you to be on your game. That's why I hire professionals like you. Thanks.